fine. Continuing further, what we were doing we were talking about that what exactly happens when I'm using an independent if instead of a nested or a elif ladder. Okay. So of course it doesn't matter if there are two conditions only. You may use it like that, though conceptually it is not appreciated if you're doing it like that. Fine, but it's okay. We are not really burdening the system as such, putting a lot of burden on it because it's less number of conditions. If it is more number of conditions, then of course we are not supposed to do it like that. That's a wrong approach. Absolutely wrong approach. Right? So the difference has to be very, very clear. Now let's take up a question. Either of these we may do, or we may take up something from the worksheet which which I plan to put. Let's do that because this is already there in the PPT, so I'm not really getting into these codes. And then we do a few other things also. Okay. So chalo, let's do a question from here. Post that, I need to discuss and tell you that for your practical file submission, the practical exam of 50 marks, which is there, what all needs to be done. I've prepared the document. I'll share it today. Patiently go through that. Because as you know, it's a 50-50 breakup for this particular subject. So you have to do whatever is required to be done for the practical 50 marks also. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me pick up the file work itself, and from that only let me have it so that it simultaneously explained to you also that what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. Okay, now first part is this. This is the, sorry for the heading. This is your first term practical work which needs to be done. Of course, you'll have an exam, practical exam, which will be these programs only, which you need to do. So that will be around 10 marks because you'll have if as well as loops in the exam, practical exam. So that's around 10 marks. On the same day, you have the Viva, which is around 5 marks. And you need to send me two machine learning models using the teachable machine thing. Okay. And you may take the vision or either of the three, any two of the three, which the teachable machine gives you the option for. Okay. So those are 5 marks each. So that needs to be done. Then comes the IBM skill build certificates. For that, there's a proper process to be followed from where to, go for it and how to go about it. That I'll tell you, but that needs to be done because that's part of your syllabus. And then comes the practical file questions. Now, when you see these questions, they are based on if as well as certain questions on loops. Not much. I've just given 15 for you to try. Now, what you do is you will, whichever platform you're using, either ideally or you're using Anaconda or you're using some online platform, I really don't mind that. But whatever you are doing, you are going to open that, write the code, take the screenshot of the code and paste it on a Word file. Like supposingly, I'm using the previous question only what we had done. Sorry, I did not start screen share. Sorry. Okay, so here I go. Fine. So you may first take the screenshot of the code. And how do you do that? It's very simple. You do print screen from the keyboard. Keep a Word document opened below. Okay. And you can paste the questions initially itself. And after that, you will paste like you say answer one, and you'll paste the screenshot. edit the extra part, you may use a snipping tool, you may use the normal format picture crop option, whatever you want to do, your wish. Because it depends upon which, yes, woman output also. So whichever version of Word you're using depends upon that. So you may go to the format picture option, the way generally I do it. Okay, so when you pick up this picture format, you get this crop option. Where is that? Oh, that's funny. Hmm. Am I doing it wrong? This is not what I want. This is not what I want. I want the snipping tool. Where is it? Oh, as in clip. Sorry. So when you are, you have pasted here, you get the picture format, click there, and you have this crop option. You may have other ways of doing it also. You may use a snipping tool too. So click on that. The sizing handles, changes to these black bars. And then you can just crop off the extra part of the screen, which is not required. You just have to keep the program part or the program. And this is also something you have to learn because the same pattern you have to do for your board exams also next year. Right? So this is how you keep it, increase the size. And then followed by the question, the code, you give the output. How do you do that again? You are back to your code with Alt Tab. I'm back here, I execute it. And the execution will work. So I enter a number and the output comes. After you've got the output, again a print screen from your keyboard, back to the Word document. You have to keep the Word document open, okay? Control V, paste it, back to format picture. Once you select the picture, it's back to picture format. From picture format, pick up the crop and crop it. I just want the output part, not the extra part. Okay? So you may keep the prompt. But you have to do it a little neat because that's how I know whether you've understood it properly or not. And that is how you present it for your files next year too. I'm not asking you to write it down because ultimately next year you need it in this format itself. I'm not asking you to print it also in class 11th. I'll ask you to put in the GCR. Okay? Because we will add more codes to it in the next year and the second term and all. And then finally, the entire book has to be printed for your board exam. Then you have the practical exam during the board exam. Okay? Am I clear with this? Yes, woman, are you saying something? Okay. Fine. So this is how you will do the file work, which you have to do and submit. And for submission, you have to go to GCR and upload it. I'm not asking you to get the prints this year because I don't need it. I'll check it from the GCR itself. Okay? I hope I have made myself clear. Now let's move on to a question here, which is like a proper nested if question. The other ones are simpler. Let me take this one. Little longer. Okay. So here you can see there are multiple conditions. And based on one condition, you have the calculation of HRA and DA. So multiple statements will be there. So I'm picking up this question. What does it say? You accept salary. So you know what to be taken as input, right? And then you talk about the calculation for HRA, DA, and gross. You may not be aware of these terms, but let's learn them. So here in the salary which your parents get, you have components like house rent allowance, you have component like DRS allowance, you have component like tax. So there's a gross pay. From there, we subtract all the deductions and then we get the net pay, what we get in hand. You may ask your parents to explain you this thing. It is a good learning thing too. Okay. So this kind of a case study questions will be there in the paper. So you need to be prepared for that. Right? Now let's start with it. I'm keeping this here open with me so that I can refer to the conditions one by one. And let us do this question. If you have your machine with you, it will be better if you try it out parallelly with me so that if you have some problems, I can check it up here itself. If not, it's okay. You may do it and then share if you have any issues, okay? Now, salary input, basic input. When you do so, this is how you may print the message and you got the salary. So one input only here on this particular question, conditions are more. Now, if first condition, salary less than 2,000. Unrealistic though, but just to write less, I'm taking lesser values. Don't forget the colon. Enter. Indent is automatic. Now, two calculations I have to do here. 10% of the salary as my HRA, 5% of the salary as my DA. So, any variables you may take, I'm taking H for the HRA. How's the calculation? Now, 10% of the salary. Mathematically, how do you write it? 10 by 100 into S. But writing 10 by 100, you may write it the way you write for mathematics, this way, which will create a confusion. I'll have to cut marks there, which I don't want to. So we always prefer to put it as calculated 10 by 100, so which is 0.10. So 0.10 into S. Simple and straight. Okay. Value for DA. Taken up the variable as DA itself. 0.15, no, 0.05, it's 5% into salary. Calculation is done. I may print it here itself, but it's not the right approach. Why? Because printing of the values have to be done for all the conditions. I'll keep the variable common because any one of them will execute, है ना? Salary either of these four conditions में से किसी एक condition में जाके true होगा, correct? So any of the four H and DAs I use, I'll be utilizing them. And printing is common. Either I have to put printing for all the four conditions or I put it once outside the if-else structure, right? So obviously preferred version is that you put it outside the if-else structure. जो varying statements है, उसको you will put it in the if and the elif structure. The common statement that should actually be done outside. Fine. So I go back because now I need the second condition. And the second condition is not the only condition. So I go for elif. Second condition is my salary is more than 2,000. I'm writing it here like this. And my salary is now less than equal to 4,000. This equal to is also an assumption. You may take it in the upper bracket or the lower bracket. If it is mentioned like this. If it is very specific, because 2,000 to 4,000, the next is again 4,000 to 8,000. So you may take it in the upper bracket also, in the lower bracket also. First condition may equal to diya hua hai. So automatically it is there. Fine. These are all your decisions which you make seeing the question there. Now you may write the condition like this, but also because it will come and check this condition only if the value of S is more than 2,000. क्योंकि अगर less हुआ तो वो इसी को execute करेगा. Logical? Do you get my point? So that is why greater than 2,000 लिखने का कोई logic नहीं है. You are unnecessarily increasing your job. Because it is reaching this point and checking this condition only when the value of S is more than 2,000. अगर less है तो वो ऊपर वाला ही करेगा, नीचे आएगा ही नहीं. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे वो कब तक काम करेगा? जब तक वो less than equal to 4,000. Correct? So I put the H value and the DA value here, which is 25% and 15%. So 0.25 into S, and my DA is equal to 0.15 into A. Sorry, S. This part done. Next condition. I've taken a question with maximum conditions, what we are going to give you in the question paper. So accordingly, but these levels can be up to any extent. Okay. So here again 4000 जब क्रॉस कर गया, वो लेस देन इक्वल टू है तो ऊपर वाले कंडीशन में रहेगा. When it crosses 4000, I move to the less than 8000 वाली कहानी, right? So less than equal to 8000. Again, next set of values for H and DA, 0.30 into S. And my DA is 25%. So 0.25 into S. Done. Now the last is any value which is more than 8000. You may write it with elif S more than 8000. Okay. Or you may just say that otherwise. Otherwise में बस एक प्रॉब्लम है कि अगर वो जीरो भी एग्जीक्यूट किया तो भी वो यही वैल्यू उठाएगा. आई मीन इट विल कम टू दिस पार्ट ऑफ द कोड. अगर उसने नेगेटिव वैल्यू दिया तो भी वो इसी पार्ट में आ जाएगा. नहीं, नेगेटिव वैल्यू दिया तो फर्स्ट में जाएगा. ठीक है. सो दैट इज द वे योर एल्स विल वर्क. So you want to make it specific? You may. You don't want to make it specific? It's your wish. H is equal to 40%. So 0.40. Okay, let me put it here once the way you may write it correctly if you want to use a division operator. So you have to say 40% of salary means 40 by 100. Make sure you write like this when you're writing it in the paper also. Machine में तो वो slash आप लिख ही नहीं सकते. पेपर में आप लिख सकते हो. The way you put it in maths, 40 by 100. But that's wrong. So your marks will be deducted because of that. So 40 by 100 into S. ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं. You want the 40 by 100 to be done first. So you put the bracket there into S. Done. DA is equal to, I'm back to my normal way because I find it irritating to write like that. Done. The uncommon parts are done. Now to the common part. Gross. Which is equal to the salary plus DA plus HRA. ये हर एक के लिए होगा. किसी भी if condition से जब वो बाहर आएगा. So gross is equal to S plus DA plus, no, it's not D. A, it's only D plus, no, it's D only, sorry. HRA is only H. All three values added. If you want to calculate the tax, I'm not sure whether that is there in the question or not. It's only gross, I think. Yeah. And they are calling it as net salary. That's fine. You go by what the question is saying. And then you print it. Salary, gross salary. You want to put all the values of, I mean, HRA and DA also, you can do that. To just show you how the print has to be put, I'm putting it like only for gross. Okay, done. So when you have to do it for your practical, your file, what you have to do is you have to take the screenshot of this, print screen again from your keyboard, back to your Word document, which is, okay, I've closed it. Let me do it here itself. So I have a Word document open here. I'm putting it here only for the time being. Paste it here. So you'll crop it. Okay. And then follow with the output also. So now what you'll do, you'll write it, save it, execute it. Let me say the salary is 45,000. And the gross is done. Iska, you'll take the screenshot again, then screen, paste it in Word, and your output is also done. Okay, that's how you work for your file. Okay, the purpose of this question, doing this question was to actually explain you the working of the nested if, and the possibility of errors is that you miss out on this. You miss out on this bracket, which is very, very common error. Okay, you do the indentation wrong. Now, what happens if I take this and put it here? Can somebody tell me? What happens if I take this and put it inside this indent? Come on. Yes, Natik, can you tell me? What happens if I take this and put it below else part, as part of the else block? Try answering better, then only I know that you've understood something. Whatever you feel is should happen. What if I put this here and not here? It makes a lot of difference. Let me show you the difference also. Okay. So I'm saying that I'm executing it. Oh, here I'm corrected the code. Let me get back to what I was saying. Mhm. Okay, I have to save this file first. Okay, nothing I think has given some answer. Let me execute it. But this is the one which will is a normal execution. So I'm closing. I don't want this to be shown. Let's see what Natik has said first. Yes, it will become part of else only. So what will happen? I want to know what is the effect on the output. You're right. Definitely it is part of the else. So what happens? Let's see that. है ना? So मैंने उसको else के अंदर डाल दिया. Now what's happening? Let me go for salary which is around 5,000. He's saying GR is not defined. Why? क्या हुआ? See, these kind of errors you're going to get. So I am talking about it here. What happened? 5,000. So this condition is false. Okay. It comes and checks the next condition. False. Okay. Comes and checks the next condition. True. Execute this part. That's how the control flow is happening. इसके एग्जीक्यूशन के बाद वो कहाँ जा रहा है? सीधा स्प्रिंट पे जा रहा है बिकॉज रेस्ट ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट्स आर पार्ट ऑफ एल्स. नाउ यू आर सेइंग डिस्प्ले जीआर. तो बोल रहे कौन जीआर? आई डोंट नो हिम. है ना? बिकॉज जीआर डिफाइन ही नहीं हुआ. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't share my screen. Am I clear with this? Thanks, Anna, for pointing it out. Now is it visible? I hope it is. Okay, so what's happening is here, when I am talking about my input as 5,000, just a second. Too many screens open to me. Yeah, so when I'm saying that, I need to delete this too, not to disturb the file. Don't say anything. Okay. So when I'm saying that, this is my code and I'm executing it and I'm getting an error. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. When this is happening, why? Because GR defined anywhere. GR is happening only if the value of salary is more than 8,000. तब वो चलेगा. Suppose I'm saying 45,000, 46,000, whatever. Then no error. है ना? So you have to be careful. You may give an input on the basis of which there is no error in the output, but the code is wrong because it's not working for all sorts of inputs. Getting my point? I hope it's clear now. Can I see a thumbs up? Thumbs up from everyone. Okay, Vani. Ahana, waiting for Naitik also. Great. And for my hospital child too. I hope I make some sense better. You'll have to see the recording of the first session, then only you will be able to understand it better. Now look here, there's one more thing we have to talk about, name error. Can you see this? Name error. In Python, you also have the errors given some code. Name error, value error, index error. And when you're going to practice it, then only you'll identify this error as to what is the problem with that. So name error means he's not able to identify with the name GR. ठीक है. Value error होता है when you try to do some kind of a issue where you're saying कि float का data int में store करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो और vice versa. Float का data नहीं हो पा रहा उसमें store or some kind of a data problem. I'll get a value error. Index error when you work with lists and other data types, there my index value which I'm trying to extract, that's invalid. So index error. Key error. So all these kinds of named errors are there and we should be able to identify to that too. Because when you start working in the long run, you'll find that by the name of the error only, you can make out what is the problem. Okay. So keep a track of what error it is coming when what is the problem. Correlate that. कि ऐसा error हुआ तो ऐसा problem है. Because these are also interview questions, they ask you. Name error आ रहा है, so what's the problem? Identify करो. Key error आ रहा है, index error आ रहा है. So you will go and check not the whole code, but those areas where you feel that this may happen. Okay. That is what I wanted to explain to you regarding if and elif structure. And this example also talks about the nested if only, where I'm taking the number, checking whether it's more than 0. If that's true, I'm coming and checking whether it's equal to 0 or not, and accordingly. So this I have already discussed in the first part of the session. And here I'm talking about logical operators being used. That is and or. Okay, though I've discussed this and or when we were doing the data handling, but just a revision with the use of if. Like in the first example, you see here, x is 1, y is 2, and I'm putting this condition. If x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2. And का purpose क्या है? When both the conditions are true, then only I will take this entire condition to be true. और true होगा तभी वो जाके welcome print करेगा. That's what we have learned. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे x is 1 and y is 2, so both conditions are true. And के साथ both true है तो expression true है. Hence I'm getting the output as welcome. Let's see this. X is 1, y is 2, and my condition says x is not equal to 1 or y is less than equal to 2. Now, as per the current values of x and y, x not equal to 1. Is it true or false? Come on, quick. X not equal to 1. Is it true or false? I'm waiting for your answer in the chat window. First condition, is it true or is it false? Okay, nothing is correct. False. Because x is equal to false. So x not equal to 1 is false. Is y less than 2? No, it isn't. But it is equal to 2. So this condition is true. ये please ध्यान रखना. Less than or equal. So even if it is not less, it is equal. Hence this condition is true. Okay. So this condition is true. I'm trying to write. And this condition is false. So what should be the answer of the entire expression? Waiting for your answer. False or true will give me, as per the rule of or, false or true. No, darling, this is not supposed to be false because and में दोनों condition true होना चाहिए compulsory. Or may, if either of the conditions are true, I'll consider this whole expression as true. पहला false है, दूसरा true है. पहला true है, दूसरा false है. या दोनों true है. All the three cases, my answer is true. In the case of or. But in the case of and, both the conditions have to be true, then only the whole answer will be true. Otherwise, it will be false. Okay? So, in this case, my answer will be welcome, of course, because this whole expression evaluates to true. And why is that so? One of the conditions is true. Nothing, am I clear with this? Others also, but I think others have done this part, so they are more confident. What about you and my hostel child, of course. She's doing it for the first time. Am I clear with it? Some response is required to understand. Why is the output given as question mark? Oh, because I'm asking you. That's why. Okay, so your answer is welcome. Very much. On the slide, it is there because I am expecting you to execute and give me the answer. That's it. Now, few more things. I've again referred it in the previous part, but I'm repeating again. This part, seeing the first part of the code, these two lines are part of the if statement. This is outside the if statement. So whether the condition is true or whether the condition is false, this statement will definitely be executed. Okay. So you can see the comparison here. In this case, x equal to 3 true है. So you have two books पे execute हुआ, outside of if statement भी execute हुआ. But in this case, because this condition is false, x की value 2 है, so उसने इसको और इसको execute नहीं करा, but इसको execute करा. Right? If you understand this much, then in that case, my job is done as of now. Okay? Now your part is to execute the questions which are there in the slide as well as the worksheet which I'll share. Maybe the practical part only you can try. And once you try that and you're able to do it, you know that you've understood this part. Okay? We have to work with the loops, which I'll try to do next Saturday. And that's important. Okay? So that needs to be done thoroughly too. Loop will take little time for you to understand. So if possible, I'll try to keep some class in the evening in this week. Let's see. I'll discuss with all of you. Or else Saturday, no other option. And your UT papers are checked. Please come and collect it from me on Monday. Okay, maybe in the recess when you know that I'll be there in the lab, basement lab. They are checked for quite a long time. I just forgot to message you. Right? So please do come and collect it. Thank you. Carry on with your practice. That's important. These things look simple, but when you sit to do it, they do become difficult. Because you have to keep your syntaxes clear so that the errors are minimum. Right? And you must be able to handle the errors also. Because when you do it in the practical exam, you will go crazy if you are not able to handle your errors because I'm not helping you out. Right? So make sure you practice a little. You have this weekend to utilize it and try to do as much as possible. Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.